Have you ever felt as if you were caught in the middle of a storm, unsure of what to do? As if everything were spiraling out of control and anxiety was consuming you? In difficult moments, it's natural to feel fear. But what do you do when everything around you seems like chaos? Jesus left us powerful teachings about how to trust in God and find peace, even when everything feels uncertain. And in today's video, you'll discover how to strengthen your faith, overcome challenges, and live with serenity, even in the face of life's storms. So, stay with me until the end. This is a journey toward calm in the midst of the tempest. A man of integrity, faithful to God, who did everything right. And yet, he was thrown into a den of hungry lions, all because he refused to stop praying to God. The king of that time had decreed that no one could pray to any god except him. But Daniel did not yield to fear. He knew his faith was above any human decree. So, as he did every day, he opened his windows and continued praying to God. But not everyone admired Daniel's faithfulness. His enemies were waiting for this very moment. They reported him to the king, who, despite admiring Daniel, could not revoke his own decree. And so, Daniel was thrown into the den. Now, picture the scene. The smell of damp earth mixed with the hot breath of the lions, the sound of their growls echoing in the darkness, eyes glowing in the shadows. There was no way out. To human eyes, it was the end. But Daniel did not panic. He trusted. He knew that God was with him, even there, in the heart of the den, and that made all the difference. That night, something incredible happened. The lions did not attack him. God sent an angel to close the mouths of the beasts, and Daniel remained there, at peace, in the midst of the impossible. The next morning, the king rushed to the den, his heart heavy with worry, and called out to Daniel. And do you know what he heard? A calm, steady voice emerging from within. "O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths." Daniel emerged unharmed. No wounds, no despair, because he knew that the same God he prayed to every day was with him in that den. And this is where we need to pause and reflect. How often does life place us in dens of lions? Situations that seem hopeless, threats closing in around us, problems roaring in our ears. And in those moments, what do we do? Trust or give in to panic? Daniel could have given in to fear. He could have stopped praying to protect himself, but he knew his safety wasn't in avoiding the den. It was in knowing who was with him inside it. And that's the question for us. Where is your trust? When problems arise, when fear strikes, when everything seems to be falling apart, do you panic? Or do you remember that God is with you, even in the middle of the den? Because trusting in God doesn't mean we'll never face challenges. It means that when they come, we won't face them alone. Now, pay attention to this. If this message touched your heart, don't ignore it. Sometimes, God uses moments like these to remind us of something we've forgotten. So, if you feel you need to strengthen your faith, don't let this word pass you by. And if this content touched your heart, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Now, let's work together to understand how to live this trust daily and face any storm without fear. Have you ever noticed how our lives sometimes resemble Daniel's den? Situations that surround us, threats that seem uncontrollable, moments when all we can do is trust or panic. And the truth is, most people, when faced with a challenge too great, choose fear. Because fear is easy. Fear comes naturally. When difficulties arise, when problems roar around us like hungry lions, our minds go on high alert. The heart races, anxiety tightens its grip, and we begin to think the worst. But Daniel teaches us something entirely different. He was there, surrounded by danger, but he did not panic. He didn't try to find a way out on his own. He simply trusted. And that trust was enough for God to act. Now think about this. What if you did the same? Because the truth is, many times, God is waiting for exactly that. We pray, we ask for help, but we keep holding on to everything as if the weight of the world were in our hands, as if the solution depended solely on us. But it doesn't. And perhaps that's our greatest mistake. We want to trust in God, but we keep trying to control everything. We say we believe, but deep down, we still want to hold the reins. But faith isn't that. Faith is letting go. Faith is knowing that God is capable of closing the lions' mouths before they reach us. And here's something fascinating. When Daniel was thrown into the den, God could have prevented it. He could have made the king change his mind. He could have stopped Daniel from being accused. He could have fixed the situation before it happened. But he didn't. God allowed Daniel to enter the den, so he could then reveal his power within it. And how often does that happen to us? We want God to deliver us from the problem, but sometimes He wants to deliver us within the problem. He wants to teach us to trust, even when everything seems to be against us. Now, let me ask you, what is your den of lions today? What has stolen your peace? What has made your heart race, your mind restless, your faith waver? Perhaps it's a difficult financial situation, a health issue, a complicated relationship. Perhaps it's that feeling that things won't work out, that the future is uncertain, that you no longer know how to move forward. But if there's one thing the story of Daniel teaches us, it's that God never abandons His own. Never. Daniel trusted, and God closed the lions' mouths. But what if he had panicked? What if he had tried to fight with his own strength? Perhaps the story would have been different. But he didn't fight. He simply trusted. And that's exactly what God expects from you. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever tried holding something heavy for a long time? At first, it seems manageable. But after a while, your arms start to tremble, your hands sweat, and no matter how hard you fight it, there comes a point when you have to let go. And if this content touched your heart, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Faith is the decision to let go before reaching that breaking point. Let go of fear. Let go of anxiety. Let go of the need to understand everything, and simply trust. And trusting doesn't mean everything will happen the way you want, when you want. Trusting means knowing that whatever happens, God is already ahead, taking care of it all. And you know what's most beautiful? When Daniel emerged from the den, the king not only acknowledged the power of God, but also decreed that everyone should honor the God of Daniel. In other words, Daniel's trust not only saved his life, but also impacted others. Perhaps the way you face your challenges today is a testimony to someone. Perhaps your faith is being observed. And perhaps, when you truly trust, your life becomes a reflection of God's power to those around you. So, how about taking that step today? How about choosing faith over fear? How about stopping to look at the lions and starting to look at God? The den may be dark. The challenges may be great. But God is still in control. He is the same God who closed the lions' mouths that night. And if He did it for Daniel, He can do it for you.